third down and goal.
With no timeout to set up the field goal.
Green could get that timeout, or that first down. Hunka rolling to his left. He was going to keep it. Now will stop. Middle of the end zone. Into the hands of one receiver and into another. Anthony Fortunato caught the deflection. The Green Bulldogs take the lead late on a tipped pass from one receiver into the hands of another. We all thought it was going to be a dropped pass, but the Bulldogs are in pure elation. You thought, Billy Beebe, you thought on that play right there. Thank you for joining us this morning on the Dan Brockers Import Automotive Saturday Morning Huddle. I fixed my chair here, Kenny, as it got messy.
Yeah, look at you, man. Look at that thing dropping nuts. See, you go into that big new studio with all the fancy stuff behind you, and you forgot about the chair, Billy Beebe.
Right away, I kick the drop and I lower right as the show gets going. That's live, as you say. We appreciate everybody joining us on the Dan Brockers Import Automotive Saturday Morning Huddle. We are in week 5, and boy, did it feel like a good one last night. Not only at my game, Kenny, 2 Federal League, no pun intended, Bulldogs going at it. Jackson at Green, a thrilling finish. As you just saw, we'll watch that play and break that one down over and over again. You had a really fun game with some high-flying action. Our stream game was a prove-it game for the McKinley Bulldogs.
Yes, it was.
A giant win once again, 3 years in a row on the road. They beat St. Ed's. We are going to have a stacked show for you folks, all the highlights and whatnot from those games. And then, of course, Minerva getting their first win. Give them a round of applause. No doubt. We celebrate it. We love it. Took them 33 games. 33 games they lost in a row. 2020 was their last win. They beat Aquinas last night. We will have Coach Tim Speakman here in a few minutes. We'll talk to him. Mark Geist with the Green Bulldogs. Coach Nate Moore will join us at 10:30. Coach Brian Baum with the Hoover Vikings, who bounced back this week. You'll love to see that. They didn't want to fade away in the Federal League. And then Antonio Hall at 11 o'clock. I'm trying to catch my breath, Kenny. What a week of football.
Yeah, week 5, halfway point. Hard to believe. Year 80. Week 5, we're halfway through this season. Billy, remember when we were like, are we going to Oregon or are we not going to Oregon? What's going on with Oregon and Massillon taking on the NFL Academy? And we're like, yeah, we are going to Oregon. And here we are at the halfway point. Hard to believe that. And some great games last night. We've got great footage from a lot of the different games. And there were so many big games last night, Billy, for so many different reasons, right? We're going to start with Tim Speakman when he comes on here in a few minutes. You had 0-30 versus 0-33, right? 2 of the longest losing streaks in the state of Ohio going head-to-head. Somebody had to win, and it was Minerva getting the 16-7 win over St. Thomas Aquinas. And so kudos to the Lions for getting that win. That was ginormous for those kids. That game was just as big to them, Billy, as the Massillon St. Ed's game was, right?
Right.
Division I state champ versus the Division II state champ from a year ago. And as you pointed out, 3rd consecutive year that Nate Moore's squad has knocked off St. Ed's. And guess what? Yes, they can go on the road and beat St. Ed's. A lot of people ask, well, you always say Massillon plays a bunch of home games. I don't think they can go on the road and win. I said, watch them do it. I picked Massillon this week to go on the road and beat St. Ed's, and they did just that. Jalen Slaughter, what a story this kid is, right? Last year, could have been the starting quarterback for that state championship team. DeJuan Owens comes in, transfers in. He ends up being the guy and leads them to a state title. Slaughter could have transferred. No, he stayed. He got a ring out of it, and now he's the starting quarterback as a senior, and they go into St. Ed's and beat the Eagles yesterday 31-21. Just a hell of an effort by that defense from Massillon to go in there and hold St. Ed's at home to just 21 points. And from what I was reading online and in the paper, they held, I guess it was St. Ed's scoreless for the final 17 minutes of that game, Billy Beebe. And thus they get the win. And Lennox with the game-clinching touchdown after a 4th down stop on defense. Just a great victory. And you know Massillon travels, Billy Beebe. Wherever they play, they will travel. We saw them in Oregon. No surprise. They were, at the St. Ed's game last night. And congratulations to Nate Moore and his squad for a huge win.
Definitely. And we shout out our friends at Jim Trussell's NEO Ohio Sports Channel. They gave us the footage from last night. I appreciate that they, after a score, Kenny, look how they zoom out on the atmosphere because the Massillon fans strong, St. Ed's, their faithful were there causing some trouble. You talk about the defense. It was 24-21. Ed's was driving, getting back in it. 4th down and 2, Vino McConnell and Mike Wright Jr. get the stop. 4th down and 2 late in the game. It seemed like your lead might be fading away. You're on the road, tough situation, and the Massillon defense steps up. Hey, you see 31 points, you probably think offense, right? You probably think offense got it done. Defense has to make plays at different times. It seems like they did in that one, and Tigers get it done 3 years in a row. Of course, that's one thing. And then they get it done on the road this year. Right. And I know there were murmurs last year. Ed's quarterback was out. Ed's played a hell of a game last year, and they brought a full team this year, and the Tigers get it done. Bounce back win for them, too.
Yeah, how about Vito and Big Mike? You got to love that on defense, right? Making the big play. The ball was at the Massillon 40-yard line, I believe. And so it's a 3-point game. Eds can tie the game with a field goal, take the lead with a touchdown, 4th down, and Vito and Big Mike come up huge for Massillon on defense. And then what you like to see, Billy, is what Massillon did after the big 4th down stop, right? They put the game away. They have a number of guys they can go to be their closer. Jameer Gamble, he had over 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Lennox gets the big run to put it away. Jalen Slaughter, look at that, slinging the ball, sidearm throw right there into a tight window. And so Massillon is still the best team in Ohio, regardless of division. This is a program that is the best program in the entire state of Ohio, regardless of division. And, everybody's going to have to knock them off that pedestal now that they won the state championship last year and just defeated the D1 state champ from last year and the year before that. And I think maybe even the year before that for the 3rd consecutive year.
First off, exciting game. I'm all about it. I love something like that, Kenny. Billy Beebe appreciates a good jersey combo, a good jersey look here. The all whites for the Tigers and that dark look for Eds, give it to me. Give it to me over and over again. That's a visually pleasing aesthetic there in that one. Congrats to the Tigers on a big win.
How about the clean white look there, right? Real simple. Dan Belford, any play-by-play announcer would love that. You can see those numbers nice and clear no matter how far away you are. So you're giving the love to the right kids, carrying the ball, throwing the ball, making the big defensive plays. And I love the fact that Billy Beebe went 3rd person here on the Saturday morning huddle as we're in the first 5 minutes of our show. I'm going to raise my V8 energy drink to you. Cheers to you, Billy Beebe, going 3rd person.
I appreciate that. Good win for the Tigers. And cheers to the Minerva Lions. Let's get to our next guest here, Kenny. Coach Tim Speakman, the head coach of the Minerva Lions. Coach, a huge congratulations, not just from us, but to the community. I know a lot of people in Stark County are happy for you guys. How you feeling after a win?
Very excited, very happy for not only our kids, but very happy for our school and our community because this is a well-deserved win, and they needed something like this at Minerva.
Coach, I felt your pain. I grew up in Pennsylvania, all right? My high school, Springdale High School, we were the Dynamos. We weren't real good in football either. I think we may still hold the WPIAL record for consecutive losses at like 37 or 38. I forget what it was. It was many years ago. So I know in a small school, when you do end that streak, how important it is and the jubilation that's felt by everybody from you, your coaches, to the players and the fans everywhere. What was that atmosphere? We'll get into the game in a second. What was that atmosphere like after the game? The clock hits 0 and you get the win.
It was exciting, more than anything. And of course, when you're in a game, you don't notice or aware of a lot of things that are going on up in the stands. But as I had my mom, my sister, and some other people tell me how some of our student body rushed the jumping over the fence and running into onto the field. So just to see that and hear that, that's exciting. And again, just so happy for our school and our kids and our community.
Minerva, a 16-7 winner over Aquinas yesterday, breaking that streak. Coach, you talk about everybody being happy. I want to go back a little bit. Personally, Coach, I thought you gave the speech of the night at our high school football banquet dinner because you talked about the process of winning off the field and how that would eventually get onto the field. Can you give us a little insight on what you guys were still trying to do while maybe not winning games in the offseason, in the classroom, in the community to make that happen?
Yeah. That's and I appreciate that. I really do. The biggest thing for us, because everybody thinks that success is all about winning on the football field or baseball field or softball field, whatever it may be. But when I first got to Minerva, we obviously we had to change a little bit of a culture there as far as commitment to the program, but not only just to the program, but being committed to your academics, being committed to your actions and off the field. And one of the most important things is I'm a disciplinarian, and you're called a student athlete for a reason because you're a student first. And that's one of the things that I really buckled down on with our student athletes was taking care of your academics. And when I first got here, I had to sit some pretty good football players because of not taking care of academics, just handing in homework. Take care of the things that you're supposed to be taking care of off the field. So I kind of set a message pretty early, and some kids didn't come back, but the ones that were invested and committed and that understood the process and what we were expecting, because it's about expectations. And Minerva has great expectations. I grew up here. I was gone for 30 years, but came back. And there's high expectations in the community and our school system. So we had to make that very clear. And our kids, the ones that are still with us that were here with me 2 years ago, are committed. Not only in the football program, but they're committed in the classroom and off the field as to how they act and how they portray themselves. So that's, to me, that's success. The wins will come if you get people to continue to commit. And this the senior group that I have right now are outstanding. Some of the best seniors I've ever had in my career, and they're leaders. And it's trickling down to our juniors and our sophomores, and more than anything, our freshmen. Because our seniors, how our freshmen see our seniors treat them in a locker room and in the classrooms and walking down the hallways speaks volumes about where we're at right now.
Coach, let's talk about the game last night. Your quarterback, Julian Dunbar, with the touchdown, the only one you scored, but he also did it on defense with an interception. What's he meant to this team? And obviously last night he came up big for you.
Well, you go back to what I was just saying. Julian Dunbar's a leader, not only on the field, but off the field with his academics, how he treats people. And then more than anything, he's got a lot of respect on the field because the players see how hard he works, how hard he worked in the offseason, how hard he works every day at practice to make himself better and his team better. Julian, and I think right now he's got 5 interceptions on the season. So he has been outstanding for us. And again, just a leader on and off the field. So, and he's pretty banged up right now. He, we had to take him out for a few plays here and there, but he's like, coach, comes back to me, I'm ready to go, and gets back out on the field. And our kids see that. They see that he's playing hurt. So that inspires other kids to play hard and kind of play through some of the injuries that we have.
Xavier Wheeler was the other name that kind of did it for you, Coach, last night. 22-yard field goal, 42-yard field goal, and a 34-yard field goal. What is the coaching process with a kicker? Are you out there showing them how to knock them down, or are you just watching them?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Here's the one thing, as I said to a reporter last night, it's not all just about the kicker. It's about the snap. It's about the hold, and that's about your protection. And that's something we work hard on. I'm out there every day practice timing our snap, our hold, and our kick. So they're getting feedback from me every time. I work specifically with the snappers, the long snappers, because there's an art to that as well. And Bob Altnoff works with our kickers, and Bob does a great job with our kickers in the fundamentals of kicking, because Xavier's a soccer player. Xavier's a soccer player that we converted and asked him to come out and kick for us. So he plays soccer, but yet he comes during the week, and we have our specialty period at a certain time so that he can come and work on his kicking skills and then go to soccer practice. So Bob Altnoff does a great job with him. And again, one of the things I said last night, it's not just about the kicker, it's about the snap, the hold, and the kick. But Xavier's worked very hard in the off season with Coach Altnoff to really improve his skill at kicking.
Z for three times. Football is life for him, really, Coach, right? Soccer, football, and football for you. So a good find by you, and special teams means so much. And we hear coaches talk about it all the time. I don't know if fans understand the importance of special teams, whether it's field position, return game, or in this case, extra points and field goals, because that's 10 out of your 16 points last night from your kicker. But like you said, also your snapper and your holder.
Yes, sir. So, and that's, special teams, we express to our kids all the time that, we're struggling scoring points. So special teams is very important. That's a very important part of football games. So we have to make sure that we continue to improve in our special teams area to give us a little advantage, any little advantage we can get during a game. So very, very important.
Coach Speakman, thank you for waking up with us today. Congratulations again on the win. We hope this is just the beginning. Of course, the winning starts now with you guys, and congrats. Thank you for waking up with us. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everything you guys do. I've been listening to WHBC for a long, long time, and I appreciate everything that you guys do and what you do for sports, around Stark County and the state of Ohio, and we really appreciate that.
Thanks, Coach. How about that, man? Get that monkey off your back now. Hey, nobody's talking about a losing streak for the rest of this season, and hopefully they can add to that win total as they move through the 2024 second half.
Yeah, a 33-game losing streak, their last win coming in 2020. So a terrific victory for the Minerva Lions. Yeah, Kenny, I wanted to mention that speech because I thought that was so great at that banquet dinner. I mean, we're hearing from Bernie Kosar. We're hearing, from Nate Moore talking about a state championship, the Massillon-McKinley rivalry, all that. Right. And you know what? For a coach to go up there, and I do think the room kind of buckled in and listened to that speech a little bit. Hey, he reminded everyone, we have to win off the field too. Right. I'm trying to bring along young men. We're trying to win in the classroom, in the community. So it was great to talk to Coach Speakman there. And again, congrats to Minerva. That's a huge victory. We hope to see them turn that up, get that thing going. And to Aquinas, who played a tough game last night, same thing. Find that next win, and we're rooting them on to do so. We love doing it. Let's go guest to guest.
All right.
Joining us now from the Green Bulldogs, Coach Mark Geis. Coach, a thrilling victory, no doubt, for you guys last night. How are you feeling this morning?
I'll tell you what, after 5 weeks of, down to the last minute games, this is it's certainly good to be on the right side, but certainly it takes a little bit out of you as you get older, for sure.
All right, Coach. Billy showed me, the play last night, the game-winning touchdown. I grew up in Pittsburgh, immaculate reception. That's as crazy of a bounce and great reaction by your guys to haul that in. Have you ever seen anything like this in your years of coaching?
It might be a little delayed here, Kenny.
Yeah. But there's that pass. I mean, boom, boom, the tip for the touchdown. So that one goes down in the the highlight film record books, if you will, as far as, unbelievable caroms and catches. And it ends up winning them, the game. So from that standpoint, it was a heck of a reaction and a heck of a grab there by Fortunato to have the ability there to, you always do the tip drill in practice, right? You always do that. And you wonder if it's ever going to come into play. Well, there was the tip drill. Most of the time it's done for the defensive backs, right? Tip drill. Well, in this case, it was his wide receiver who ended up getting, the tip drill to bounce his way. And unfortunately, for Jackson, they come up on the short end of this one by the final score of 21-17. But as I like to call him, Sergeant Hulka, Tyson Hunka, the quarterback for the Green Bulldogs, throws for $194 and 3 touchdowns, and none bigger than that big deflection that ended up in the hands of Fortunato. And they were fortunate to get the win and take down Jackson in a big Federal League game.
Now let's try rejoining here with Coach. Coach, guys, can you hear us all right? Yeah, I think we may have a bad connection, but we appreciate Coach trying to join us there. This was an extremely even game, Kenny. We go 7-7 into halftime. At that point in time, both teams had 7 points. Both teams had an interception. Lucas Eckerman showing off the wheels here early. Looking at that knee pregame, he was kind of favoring it. He was kind of having some issues with it. But once that game got going, once the adrenaline gets going, Kenny, he starts playmaking. Christian Satterfield, he ends up helping out Lucas Eckerman, 76 rushing yards, all workhorse, power, rushing yards, and the Jackson offense coming out in the second half. There's Noah Calando making a play. They take the lead 10-7, and the back and forth kind of begins as we talked about. The Green offense led by Tyson Hunka, as you talked about. He was playmaking all night. This play right here, Antonio Martin, little casual. That's an opening touchdown. I thought there was a flag on that play to get things going. And then it was the final drive, Kenny. Both quarterbacks were going to have one last chance to make something happen. And in fairness, both quarterbacks did. Jackson scored. It was Stanley Foster. Didn't have a carry all night. Comes in on the final drive. Gets 5 carries, including the touchdown that gave the Jackson Polar Bears the lead. They're up 17-14. Green gets it back one last time. Now, 5 minutes remaining, and Green punts it back to Jackson. Coach Geis, ton of trust in his defense. And we talked about on air, Coach McDaniel said 2 things are going to happen. He's going to trust his defense, and he's going to start really using those timeouts. That's what Green did. They get the ball back. 2:45, no timeouts. They drive down the field. And again, that final touchdown here, we'll watch it one more time. It was 3rd down, and they had 6 to go, but it was basically 3rd and goal. As you see, Hunka stopped. He had a man open. Evan Reed wide open, hits him in the chest, bounces off, and into the hands of Anthony Fortunato. A thrilling finish. It left 26 seconds on the clock before Green sealed the game with an Antonio Martin interception. So this was an instant classic. This is one of those games that's terrific to have on our YouTube channel.
Right.
Go back and rewatch that anytime. And as I said, Kenny, I got to give props to Jackson. Terrific game. They made plays when it mattered. Their defense was flying all around the field. Brocker and Warmath, terrific. Their linebackers, and they kept this thing close.
Billy, I'm thinking I'm watching LSU with those uniforms for the Jackson Polar Bears out there, right? So again, love the numbers. You can see those. It's easier for us as broadcasters to do our job. But Lucas Eckerman battling that knee, like you said, still out there, throwing the ball around, running for a touchdown. Special teams came up big, but give Green credit, man. 12 plays, 84 yards with 26 seconds left to get the win. And then Antonio Martin, I guess he had dropped the touchdown pass a little bit earlier, Billy, right? He seals the deal with an interception, and getting him back to that offense. My goodness, it's a big shot in the arm for that Green Bulldog offense and defense, obviously, if he's picking passes off as well. So Green improves to 4-1, and that's a tough loss if you're Jackson You're going on the road. Looks like you're up 17-14, got a chance for the win. All you need is a big stop on defense, and your defense can't get it done. And I know Jay Rohr is probably watching game film this morning to make sure that doesn't happen again this season with his defense.
The Green defense is physical. The Green defense is fast. That secondary is a handful for anybody. I give Lucas Eckerman a ton of credit. Kenny, he was running all over the field, taking hits, going at it. But this Green defense, I mean, they're so tough. Not only that defensive line, but you'll see some of these hits and some of these interceptions by the secondary, and it makes Eckerman think twice about where he's throwing it when. Look at this hit here. Bang. Ball's out of bounds. Green, I talked about it last week after they beat Hoover. They made themselves known in the Federal League.
Yep.
They wanted to try and give one last, push here to make people remember, hey, it is, it's been Lake and Perry, and now it's kind of coming down a little bit to it's Lake and it's Green and maybe McKinley.
Don't forget, Billy, just a few years ago, who beat Massillon to go to the Final Four in the Division II playoffs? It was the Green Bulldogs. So Mark Geis and his staff have built a nice program at Green, and when healthy, they are a team to be reckoned with. No question about it. Not just in the Federal League, right? Outside the Federal League and moving forward in the playoffs. So Massillon with a huge win at St. Ed's, Green with a big home win over a good Jackson team. And so that's another Federal League win for them. So, overall they have 4-1, but I believe now they're 2-0 in the Fed. So Green is a team you're going to have to look at that left-handed shovel pass or push pass there by Sergeant Hulka. And, Green is a team to keep an eye on for the rest of this year in the Federal League and beyond.
Antonio Martin, 4 catches, 55 yards. He had that touchdown to open the game. He also had an interception. Green had the 2 sacks. Jackson defense, they had 3 sacks. They had an interception. I mean, this was as even as a game could get, Kenny. Jackson had one last chance with 26 seconds. They had all 3 timeouts. I actually felt pretty good. I thought they could do something to finish that game. There were just multiple miscues for these quarterbacks, and that's going to happen when you throw it that much, right? Lucas Eckerman ends up throwing it close to 20 times, and Hunka throws it 30. So, he had a play where he was getting drugged down, just wanted to toss it out of bounds, and he ended up getting hit. We're going to try Coach Geis one last time here, Kenny. I think
it's a third time's a charm. Go ahead, Billy.
Coach, what do you think? This it?
I think we got it.
There we go. All right. So, Coach, the question I asked you when we broke up before was that deflected pass, tip pat, whatever you want to call it. Have you ever had one go your way like that in a game in all the years you've coached to help you win a game?
We've had some nail biters with Jackson over the past couple of years, and we've come on the wrong end of a couple of those. And no, we've not made a play like that at that kind of time. So what an awesome ending to a 48-minute Federal League game.
Yeah, Coach, I was just saying this game very even, right? 7-7 at halftime. You guys had the same amount of possessions at halftime. Jackson had that last possession. That put them over the edge. You were about even there. Felt even the whole game, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you really expect that in the Federal League. You know both defenses are going to play pretty well. And everyone's going to play really hard. Honestly, I thought there were some great special teams on both sides of the ball. And, it's going to go 48 minutes. And we've preached that. And we talk about it in our program. And we even talked about it pregame. The standard is the standard now in Green, and we're going to play with great effort for 48 minutes. But yeah, we definitely thought it was an even game going into this, and we knew that you're going to have to make a couple plays in some crucial times to be able to come out victorious.
All right, Coach. Have you ever seen the movie Stripes? I'm just curious before I ask my next question.
No, I have not.
Oh, you got to see them. Okay, because there's a character in Stripes. Yeah, I know. That's 2 people now that I know that haven't seen Stripes. Well, there's a character in the movie Stripes, and his name is Sergeant Hulka. I want to reference your quarterback as Sergeant Hunka, and he's the big toe that's leading the way like Sergeant Hulka was in Stripes. What does Tyson Hunka mean to this football team at quarterback?
Well, in our coaching staff, we refer to that as Hunka magic. And he has done that for 2 years. When he had to step in for us for Samino Manson last year, he showed in some games, the Hoover game in week 9, then we played Glen Oak in one of the weeks, and he showed his ability to extend plays with his legs and be able to create some things. His leadership goes a long ways, and he's definitely a kid who's a 3-sport athlete. He plays hockey, lacrosse, he plays football. He is not afraid of the moment. It's a unique combination for a quarterback to be able to, play pretty hard and not be afraid of some contact and use his legs. So he definitely has that ability.
I want to talk about your secondary, coach. A lot of playmaking there, not just your corners. Your safety stepped up. They got interceptions. You guys were hitting hard. What is it about that unit that works so well together?
Yeah, credit to Coach Board as our safeties coach and defensive coordinator, and he comes up with some fantastic back-end game plans for us defensively. And, it's nice getting Antonio Martin back defensively. He's obviously an All-Ohioan, 2-time All-Ohioan at corner. And really, I thought their wide receivers were very, very good and just really see Anthony Fortunato. We just saw that hit. He's a physical kid, and Antonio Martin back there at corner, but Anthony McMichael and some of those other guys stepping up. We knew they had a challenge coming into this week because Jackson's passing game is very good, but really proud of them in the way they played.
Swag, coach, is that a word I could use? They got some swag to them.
But let's just say that we don't lack any confidence with guys like Antonio Martin back there, and we definitely have some confidence when you want that with those kids, because that's a very difficult position to play. You've got to have a short memory, and when you make a mistake back there, everybody knows it.
Coach, in the Federal League, every win is big, but to start the way you have, and maybe, I don't want to say sending a message, that wasn't your intent, but letting everybody know, hey, we always hear about McKinley and Perry's off to a great start, but hey, don't forget about the Bulldogs of Green, right?
Yeah, we're off to a good start. We're 4-1, and honestly, we could easily be 0-5. That's the kind of games we've been in. We just have learned to make some crucial plays at crucial times. And we know, not every win is pretty, but every win is great in the Federal League. It's a very tough, difficult league, week in, week out. And we obviously respect the other members of the league. We respect Jackson a ton. We've had some great games with them, but we're going to take one game at a time. Obviously, the Federal League every year is a grind, and we know that it's really just all what you've done lately. And so by about 7:00 tonight, we've got to be able to turn the page to McKinley.
Let's talk atmosphere, Coach. That place was rocking last night. What is it about the Green Faithful that helps you maybe win these games, or at least gives you a boost?
Yeah, I think, over the last 6 years, we've definitely gained some confidence as a community and as a football program. And I'm not sure if we win that game, or maybe even last week's game against Hoover in the Federal League, maybe a few years ago, just that level of confidence in the close games. Our kids have a standard again to play with great effort for 48 minutes. And to be able to see that community come out last night, that was awesome, because this community loves its football. They love these kids, and they're really starting to take some pride in this program for sure.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Thanks for connecting with us, and we will see you down the road, either on the sidelines or back here on the huddle, all right?
Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Does a great job, Mark, guys. That program moving in the right direction, Billy. No question about it. So kudos to him and that. And how about that hit from Fortunato, man? You talk about lighting somebody up there on the sidelines and getting Martin back after he tore his ACL in basketball. He's going to make a difference for this team down the stretch.
Completely agree. Antonio Martin is extremely fun to watch.
Yep.
The Green Bulldogs, very fun to watch. That was a great game, Kenny. I'm going to say it again. Instant classic, super fun to watch. I want to shift some attention to your game. The score may not say it, but it looked like we had some great highlights, some high-flying action there, and definitely a lot of hype heading into that matchup.
Yeah, Pac-7 matchup between two small schools that whenever they play, you get big results. You get exciting things, and Northwest goes, to the well numerous times with their quarterback Chase Badger throwing it all over the field, and they get a 31-14 win over Fairless. Chase Badger on the night. When you look at his numbers in this game, Billy, I had to double check them. 27 of 31. He only missed 4 passes all night long. Talk about efficiency, and he's spreading it around to everybody and anybody that's out there lining up as a wide receiver. He throws for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he almost ran for 100 yards as well, carrying it 18 times. So over 400 yards of total offense for Chase Badger. He was our Old Carolina Barbecue player of the game. And the kid has so much confidence. And John DeMarco is one of the best play callers. We had 2 of the best play callers in the area going head-to-head last night with A.J. Sarbaugh from Fairless and John DeMarco. And it was kind of a family affair because there are so many connections between the 2 schools with coaches and family members and athletic directors. And thank you to Jason Hathaway, who does a fantastic job as the AD for the Northwest Indians. We love going there, and it was just a fun game to be at. A lot of exciting plays, high-scoring action, unbelievable plays, as we'll see coming up a little bit later on in our Marianne Donuts Sweet Play of the Week, Billy. So kudos to Northwest. They win 31-14, but this very easily could have been a 14-14 game going into the locker room at halftime. But a turnover by Fairless, and then Northwest took it down and punched it in to take a 21-7 halftime lead. And that really was the turning point in this game, Billy.
You talked about Chase Badger. He was terrific. He's done it before, Kenny, but I think a good opportunity here, and we'll get to the other one later. I think good chance here to set it up here. There we go. He is the one. He is the one this week, the Community One Credit Union Player of the Week. Stats speak for themselves sometimes. We also got the chance to put up those highlights. Badger, 27 of 31. 4 passes he threw were not caught for yards. I mean, that's super impressive. 353 yards, 3 touchdowns, carrying the ball really well right now too, Kenny. We've seen that over the past few weeks. And, while we have the opportunity here to talk about Community One Credit Union, we also want to mention they are having a huge competition right now.
Okay.
Not only vote for your school, show school spirit, and you'll get the opportunity to win some money for your school. So now through October 26th, vote for your favorite Stark County school to win. First place, $1,000. Second, $500. Third place, $250. www.c1cu.com. You can vote once daily. Share with your friends and family. Follow C1CU on Facebook or Instagram. Memberships are open to everybody in Stark County, and it's only $5 to open your membership. I think that's a great thing there. Chase Badger, the one this week. Again, those stats, super impressive and a big win, right? When you get those stats, it's one thing. You're in a Pac-7 matchup against a good Fairless team, and you end up snagging that win.
And I want to give some love also to Braden Venables. Caught a touchdown pass and threw a touchdown pass. I mentioned they went up 21-7 right before the break. Little halfback option, handoff, throws a pass and connects right before the half to Carson Nicky on an 8-yard TD play. And so 21-7, they went on. They get a field goal also from Ben Shantz. Special teams a factor the previous week. Special teams not so good for Northwest. This week they bounce back with a win. They improve on the season to 4-1. Coach John DeMarco does a great job, not only, like I said, with his play calling, but looking at his team and playing to the strengths of his team, Billy. And their defense came up with some plays yesterday as well, forcing some turnovers. And the previous 2 weeks, they had trouble closing games. They held on to beat Louisville in week number 3. They did not hold on and win last week. I believe it was Manchester. So I wanted to see how they would close this week. And they closed very, very well and get the 17-point win, 31-14, as it was a team effort led, though, by Chase Badger for sure.
Big win for Northwest there. We talked about Massillon, a giant win for the Tigers, Kenny, on the road. And again, that huge matchup with St. Ed's. Coach Nate Moore joining us right now from the sidelines. Coach, up and early at a JV game and with us. Congrats on the win last night. Some opening thoughts from that game.
Opening thoughts. Let's see. Great win on the road. Our kids played with great effort. We were very physical and really proud of the effort.
Coach, I'm curious to get your response to this because I've been at WHBC now 10 years, right? Covering Stark County football. You guys are the best team currently, not only in Stark County, but I think in the entire state. But I was hearing a lot from people outside of Stark County that I have friends with. Well, let's see if Massillon can go on the road and beat St. Ed's. They played them at home the last 2 years, and they won close games. I want to see what they can do on the road. Well, you went on the road, answered the bell there, and got the 31-21 victory. Is that something you guys were hearing, and was there any motivation used from that at all, or no?
I mean, I really think that's a silly question. I mean, the football field's 100 yards long. It's 53 and a third wide. Whether it's located in Massillon, Ohio, or in Anchorage, Alaska, I don't know why that would make a difference.
For some people, Coach, they thought a road victory would, I guess, stamp your mark even more. So you did that last night. So I'm out here, repping Stark County, trying to tell everybody this is the best program in the entire state. And I agree with you. It doesn't matter where. If you're good enough, you can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. So did this mean, though, a little more after the fact, getting a road win with some of the kids that have been with you for the last 3 or 4 years?
I appreciate you having our back, Kenny. But, I mean, every win is sweet. Wins are hard. That's another thing that most people don't understand. People think that, what we do showing up on a Friday night is I'm not going to say easy, but that's all they see. They don't see all the work that goes into it. Winning is hard, especially when you play the level of competition that we play. And so every win is sweet. And so, we had a great victory last night, and we enjoyed it last night. But it's time to get back to work. We got another big one this week.
Coach, I want to talk about Jalen Slaughter. He's had sort of a different journey as a quarterback. Started him as a freshman, played his sophomore year. Takes that year off last year as you guys go with DeJuan Owens. He's back playing well. This is kind of a different journey for a quarterback. What have you thought about what he's kind of shown, not only this year, but when he was sitting last year?
I mean, I think Jalen's done a nice job playing quarterback for us this year. He's a different quarterback. I think he's a different quarterback than he was previously. A lot of kids could have tapped out and transferred somewhere else and whatever. But Jalen's a Massillon Tiger through and through, and he stuck it out. And, he's a better player for it. I'm sure he's a better person for it. And he's making a lot of plays for us. He does a great job keeping plays alive in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield. We've got a great crop of receivers and backs out of the backfield that he does a good job distributing the ball to under duress on the move. He does it in a different way than our quarterback last year. DeJuan was a great player also, obviously. But Jalen's having a great year.
Coach, we saw you first week against the NFL Academy in Oregon. We're watching the highlights from this one from last night. The line, offensively and defensively. Have you made big progress both with your offensive and defensive lines since week one, especially coming up with 2 huge 4th down stops in this game?
Yeah, definitely. I think the both our offensive and defensive lines have made great improvements over the course of the year, and we've kind of settled in on our lineups. Also, that's kind of solidified and allowed those guys to develop some chemistry. But also, when you got new guys playing varsity football for the first time, there's a learning curve up front that's different from being on the outside. The level of physicality at varsity football, once again, the level that we play at is different. And our guys have risen to the challenge. Have gotten a little bit better every week. Really proud of our offensive line, but our defensive line has gotten a lot better over the course of the year also.
From what we saw, Coach, place was rocking last night. Not only the Tigers, but your opponent had a great crowd. Where was that game up there for you regular season wise and the games you've coached in?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think about it like that. Our crowd was awesome. We get to play for the greatest football city in America. And our football team means so much to our people, and our people mean a lot to our football team. And our kids truly play for our city. We don't just say that. Our kids play for the city of Massillon. And, we wanted to put on a great show for them last night.
Coach, how are you able to have your players compartmentalize things? Okay, this is the task at hand this week. It's St. Ed's, check, victory, move on to the next game, and not maybe let that be like a positive hangover, like you're full of yourselves after getting a win like that. You have been able to do that, it seems like, with your kids, getting that message through. How do you do that with 16, 17, 18-year-old kids who could easily be swayed to think they're better because of what happened the previous week?
I mean, that's just how we operate. It starts January 1st in the weight room with Coach Studer. All the way till now, nothing changes. We want to be where our feet are all the time. We don't spend the off season talking about our opponents. We spend the off season talking about us and getting better every day, and being focused on us. And it doesn't change once we hit the regular season. We just that's just who we are, essentially.
Coach, we appreciate the time this morning. We always love the sideline check-ins from our coaches. Appreciate you doing that while you're watching JV. We'll see at the Tigers as they go forward, and good luck.
All right, boys. Thanks.
Nate Moore, how about that? We want to be where our feet are, meaning in the moment, right then and there. If it's practice on Monday, that's where you need to be focused. If it's pregame warm-ups on a Friday, focus in on the task at hand, whoever you're playing. If it's 4th and 2 on defense, we got to be there and rise to the occasion. And they did that last night. I know he thought it was a silly question, Billy, and maybe he didn't put any more emphasis on it, or at least that's what he's telling us. But outside of that, around the state, people were watching to see if Massillon could go on the road and beat the Division I state champs, who they beat last year and the previous year, and they did. So that should quiet anybody and everybody about Massillon and St. Ed's, no matter where they play.
Impressive stuff from the Tigers, Kenny. I agree with you. We've heard up towards Cleveland, oh, wait till they do this, wait till they do that. Even down here, we've heard, well, they never play on the road. Well, they only play at home. Well, they always play on the road. They never play at home. I've heard both this year. I get confused. I've been in Stark County for 4 years now. I'm a little confused if Massillon always is on the road or always at home, because I hear both all the time. Well, they're on the road playing the state champs last night. They win. They return victorious. Great insight from Coach Moore just about how they operate, and sometimes when you talk about culture and a team and how they win, how longevity is implemented, how they win for 10 years, for 20 years, a lot of the time, and I know you have high school football experience up, with a Chuck Kyle, and I'm getting to talk more with Tom McDaniels every week at all games. Longevity comes from culture and comes from eyes forward, and like Coach said, you are where your feet are, right? Is that what he said? That was the quote.
That's it, and I love it. And Billy, their schedule, NFL Academy, Glen Oak, okay, down year, but still, they come back from Oregon and get that win over Glen Oak. We did that game. Virgin Catholic, okay, they snapped Massillon's 18-game winning streak, but that's a hell of a team out of New Jersey. They beat Canisius from New York.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Last week, they beat St. Ed's, Division I state champs last year. Next up, the Matha Catholic out of Maryland. North Clarkson from Ontario. Miami Edison, they're going to play a team out of Florida. At Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. Warren Harding on the road. McKinley then at home to close it out. We even joke, oh, gosh, they had 8 home games and 2 road games. Well, guess what? When you get 15,000 people showing up for a game, right, why wouldn't you want to have more home games than road games and give your fans who truly eat, sleep, drink, breathe, live and die on Massillon football in Massillon, Ohio? So, they do that. A lot of these kids maybe that go on to play Division II or Division III, Billy, they're playing in front of less fans in college than they did in high school when they have home games, because that's how crazy Massillon is for their football team. So it is the best program right now in the state of Ohio. I will put them up against anybody, any division.
Love it. Love it. Great win for the Tigers, and a little Tiger talk between us here, giving them as you
Tiger
said,
Talk. I like that. That's their Facebook show with Becca Moore and Scott Ryan. Yeah, okay.
and you're defending them. Hey, and I'll say from what I've watched, I appreciate them for exactly what they are here in Stark County. It's an exciting team to have locally, but all the action last night, Kenny, terrific. Yep. Federal League action. We talked about your game. We didn't highlight it enough. It is time. Our Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week, and it was, I think this was a sweet angle that ended up making it our sweet play of the week. This one coming for the Fairless Falcons. Break that down for us. You were in the back of the end zone here.
I was. I thought, you know what? They're trailing in the game. They have to throw the football. It was, a must-score situation. And how about the sophomore quarterback, Mikey Ritterbeck, throwing to Zach Gilkinson on this 18-yard touchdown pass for our Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week. And Billy, this was the only place he could put this football. If he puts a little bit more on it, it's out of bounds. If he throws it underneath, it gets knocked away. Look at that throw right on the money. And then if we get the slow-mo replay one more time of our Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week, how about the fact that Zach Gilkerson gets both feet in bounds? Not one. You only need one in high school football. This kid went up, corralled it, and got both feet in bounds, drags the toe, as they say, the toe drag, to make sure the official saw it. And there was no question about this, as there's the full speed look at it. And then, of course, with Billy Beebe and his editing miracles that he can work with my videos that I send him, we get the slow-mo play. And then watch this throw again from Ritterbeck, right on the money. And Gilkerson goes up, makes the grab, and gets both feet inbounds. That one down. There's the toe drag, holds on to the ball, carries the catch all the way through to the ground. And even though they come up short 31-14, that was our Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week, courtesy of Ritterbeck to Gilkerson. And Mikey Ritterbeck made some other great throws in the game as well. So while they lost, AJ Sarbaugh's got a nice young quarterback to work with.
Right
I see it. There you are.
Full set. Let me give a look here. I know they're moving down. I got pumpkin in there, ton of seasonal blueberry, the sour cream donuts, the minis. I don't know if you can see the minis on the bottom there. Yes, there's one missing. I woke up at 6 a.m., all right? I'm trying to get to work. I got to make sure I am fueled up. Marianne Donuts, we appreciate them. Boy, was that play sweet. Slow-mo is sweet with these plays, too. I love getting to do that because it is super, super fun. Our Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week. Second time it's come from Fairless, too, which is really exciting. That was quite the win there, Kenny, and a big one there. Good chance here, possibly some other scores from around the area. A lot happening last night.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the other games from around the area last night. We've touched on some of the big games. Louisville and Hoover going at it. Huge rivalry game right there. We're hoping to have Coach Brian Baum join us at some point here today on the Dan Brockers Import Automotive Saturday Morning Huddle. Hoover gets the win 23-16 to improve to 3-2 through the first 5 weeks. Perry and McKinley, we're going to tackle that one a little bit later on. Antonio Hall scheduled to join us somewhere near the top of the hour here. McKinley making an imprint on the Federal League by taking on this Perry team who came off a 17-7 win over Lake, and McKinley takes it to Perry for the second year in a row. This year, 38-7, the final, as we're looking at some of the highlights from that game at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Nino Hill with the touchdown run there. Last year, McKinley beat Perry 44-6. So in the last 2 years, McKinley has outscored Perry by the score of 82-13. So that's a big win for them last night. Lake bounces back from a loss last week at Perry. They pitch a shutout at home over Glen Oak, 27-0, tied to George with 2 TD passes and 1 touchdown run in that shutout victory for Lake. Canton South after evening their record last week at 2-2. They were on the road against a very good CBCA team. They come up on the short end, 21-10. Tuslaw, it was on the road against a very good Triway team, an undefeated Triway team, and Triway handled Tuslaw 42-7 last night. How about Trucker Lindesmith? Central Catholic starts 0-3. Well, now they've got a 2-game winning streak. Home game, first one of the season. How about that for Central? They get the home victory, 27-14 over Alliance. Connor Thomas with 3 touchdowns for Central, one on an 82-yard catch, and then he had touchdown runs of 13 and 24 yards, finished with 137 yards rushing in Central's 27-14 win over Alliance. Quarterback J.R. Jackson with a couple of touchdown passes for Alliance in a losing effort. Marlington falls to JFK yesterday, Billy, 38-22. West Branch, no problem with Warren Howling, 48-13. Sandy Valley with a shutout victory over Tuscarora Central Catholic, 45-0. Drew Graybill with 2 touchdown passes in that win. Lucas Gillen, he seems to score every week for the Cardinals. He did it again yesterday with a TD catch. East Canton, so close in a couple of games this year, Billy. They've lost 2 games by a total of 4 points now as they fell to Tusky Valley last night. 21-20 was the final there. And my number 1 team in Ken's top 10, well, they're not going to be number 1 anymore, unfortunately, as Malvern went on the road to Garraway, who's got a hell of a football team. And this was a battle of 4-0 teams, and the Hornets get blasted 41-8 for their first loss of the season. So there's a look in and around Stark County with games that happened in week number 5 last night.
If you haven't read Ken's Top 10, if you haven't seen it on the WHBC Facebook, WHBCsports.com, WHBC.com, get a look. I think the people are calling for you to schedule a Malvern Massillon game.
I know. They don't understand.
That's what they want.
It's Division 2, Division 7, and you got to go by what the team does within their division and how far they can go in their division. We all know that Massillon would beat Malvern if they played head-to-head, but within their division, who can go the farthest? That's how I rank my teams throughout the season. And let's see at the end of the year what people are saying about maybe my top 10 when it comes down to it.
Love to hear it. All right, real quick, let's get to our next guest here, Coach Brian Baum of the Hoover Vikings. Coach, a big win last night, bounced back from a loss and get back in the W column. Break down this game a little bit for us if you could.
We were playing a tough Louisville team in a rivalry. We're going to get their best shot. I was the second oldest in Stark County. It's a tough game until we take them on. So to come out on top like that, that's a good win for us. We were excited by that. But we got to continue to get better. Our run game was going last night. We got to get more out of the passing game. And defensively, we were solid all night until that last drive. They went out on the field and they very quickly scored a touchdown on us. So we've got to shore that up as well.
But, Coach, like you said, it's a rivalry, as we know. Throw the records out the window, right? It doesn't matter what happened earlier in the season. It's what happens that night, and you guys win 23-16. Your defense holds them to 16 points. And like you said, they went down that last drive. But prior to that, you held them in check. What was your defense able to do last night to help you win this game?
We were winning the battle line of scrimmage. That was important for us. Win the fight was the mindset, and our D-line, our backers were doing that. Our DBs were good in coverage, but putting constant pressure on the quarterback who can sling it. The fast running back, not giving him. He got a couple lanes. I think he got a 10-yard run. We've got to make sure we shore those up. But last night, like I said, we had to reset the line of scrimmage. We were able to do that, and winning the line of scrimmage allowed us to win the game.
Cole Rembliak, Coach, the repository writing. He's got a bloody hand. He's sweating. He's taking the helmet off. A real football look to him. What happened to him last night? What was he doing? Was that offense or defense?
He's all over the place. He's a middle backer. He scored a touchdown there on offense. Even had the onside kick recovery there. He can play a little bit everywhere, but he's a heck of a middle backer for us. And he's really stepped up coming to his own this year. And he's solid against the run. He brings it in pass rush. He's a good football player.
Coach, at the beginning of the season, we were wondering who your quarterback would be as you were rotating between John Collins and Zach Brocker. Unfortunately, Zach goes down with a knee injury, so Collins is your quarterback. How has he developed from the beginning of the season through game number 5 last night?
Yeah, he's getting better each and every week, and that's what we got to get out of him. Last night he took off, ran a couple of times. When he puts his foot down and goes, he's a big kid that can move. So that's exciting for us. Gives us another element there. We're still fighting. We're still getting the timing down. As Brock had the lion's share of the reps early on, and it's important for Andes, Cooper, Remblak, Byer. They get timing with Collins and get that stuff set up there because we're going to have to throw the ball in the back half of this schedule.
Coach, we've done a few of their games now, and you got a good look at the Louisville Leopards last night. We've seen some serious improvement from them under Coach Kappas. Anything in particular you've noticed from them as they're both winning games and kind of in all their games?
They are big. That is a big offensive defensive front. Very impressive. Their skill kids made a couple plays there at the end to try to get them back in there at the last minute touchdown. But they're an improved team. They'll continue to get better. There's some young guys out there as well. I know a lot of their skill might be seniors, but that size is young.
Coach A.J. Dolph again, over 100 yards for you and a touchdown. He's kind of your bell cow in the running game. But I want to talk about the O-line, providing him room to run, yards to gain up front. You said earlier, we talked about your defense winning at the line of scrimmage. Your offense is obviously doing the same thing in the line of scrimmage if he's running for 100 yards.
Yeah, no, he's done a really good job this year. The O-line's done a good job. We did a good job last week, good job this week, getting that done, getting AJ his yards. Even Christopher Field going in there, giving us a second punch at that running back spot. Those big guys up front, they're doing a good job. Jack Zarko, Matt Brown at the tackle, our guards. I got Ian Kirkpatrick, Malcolm Dudley, and we rotated Brody Harshaw and our center, Sam Gorman. They're doing a good job. But the two I always bring up is when we go our heavy packages, our H-back and our tight end, those guys doing the unsung job. That's Henry Gaskell at tight end and TJ Walker at the H-back/fullback. Those guys really stepped up last night and gave us another element in our run blocking.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, we want to get to know you a little bit better. We're always talking donuts on the Saturday morning huddle. What's your favorite? You're waking up in the morning. What's your go-to?
Chocolate cream stick.
Easy.
Chocolate. Look, you're right with BB. I'm old-fashioned. Just give me I guess it's because I like sugar. Give me the sugar donut or whatever, or a little cinnamon action there. But I understand that's – you know what? Is there a bad donut, Coach? I don't think there is, right?
No, there's not.
Coach, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it this morning. Good luck.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Brian Baum. There you keeping track? You can ask every coach that.
Yeah.
Here's what I think you need to do. You need to ask every coach that. And then at the end of the year, when we have our banquet, Billy, you need to provide them with like a dozen of their favorite donuts at our end of the year banquet. What do you think?
I need a raise first. That's a lot of donuts.
Talk to Sue. Sue will get things taken care of. Sue Motz will help you out on that. But seriously, keep track of that. I made already the peanut butter and jelly for Trucker. That's what we know. We know he likes there at Central. So I already fed him at a banquet there. But keep track of their favorite donuts for the rest of the year, and we'll get Sue to help you out on that.
I like it. Good opportunity here. We'll ask Antonio Hall.
Okay.
We'll talk about the win. Coach, what's your favorite donut?
Chocolate with sprinkles, hands down.
You and Billy. Oh man, I'm in the minority on this. Just the simple sugar donut on that. But that's okay. You guys can enjoy that, and I'm sure you enjoyed what happened last night, Coach. An impressive victory against the Perry team that was playing very good football coming into your building last night. How were you guys able to dominate that Perry team last night?
I think it started with a great week of preparation. The guys really had a good week of practice. And we emphasized cleaning up the penalties, and the guys really bought into that. We have a team who, if we emphasize something, our guys will respond. And so I think we played a lot cleaner football game yesterday. We mitigated mental mistakes and missed assignments, and we were just able to play a clean, fast football game.
Coach, you played very well against Perry last year. Now you have a different quarterback, certainly a different offense. But were you able to use anything from the win last year for this year?
Not so much. I mean, well, it's more so defensively. I mean, that wing tee Although, they break the wing tee more so than they have in years past. You kind of know what you're getting from Perry offensively, but preparing for their defense, you got Coach Wakefield now as a defensive coordinator. Guys are going to be disciplined. They're going to be very sound. They're not going to get outflanked and put themselves out of position. And so you try to prepare the best you can.
Coach, last night, and we were just watching the highlights here. So I'm watching your offensive line play very well here in providing protection and opening up holes, as Cam Montgomery with a great throw right there. A couple of weeks ago against Kaz Tech, I didn't think your O-line or D-line, played that well. Any adjustments there, or is it just gaining experience with some of these kids? Because it looks like you dominated in the trenches last night.
I think it's experience, and I think it's improvement. I mean, our guys make an intentional effort to get better every single day, and they've bought into that so far. And I just think that, both groups are very, very good groups, and, that they compete every day in practice, and you just see iron is sharpen iron as we move through the season.
For your quarterback coach, Cam Montgomery, he arrives from Texas earlier in the summer. How do you feel he's adjusted? How do you feel you guys have kind of gotten him to acclimate to how you do things, and then certainly his fit on the football field?
Well, we actually got Cam, early last winter, and, he's been a great addition. I think more so off the field than on the field. I mean, just, being a very charismatic leader, being a very approachable guy in the locker room. He relates to everybody. He lives by our standard. He's a great student. He's a big personality. Although he doesn't say much, you just kind of feel his presence. And I think that kind of reflects the things he's doing on the football field.
Coach, I'm looking forward to seeing Ohio State against Marshall today, right? And they've got two running backs, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, and Smash and Dash, I think is what they're calling them. Well, now you've got Jamar Johnson and Nino Hill to wear teams down over 4 quarters of a game. They combined for 164 and 2 touchdowns between the two of them. How is that part of your run game and them sharing the load and understanding the importance of that helping this team moving forward?
I think it's great, the fact that we can create some depth. So guys should be healthier as we move, hopefully, towards, the mid part and end of the year, and be fresher as we get into the fourth quarter. And we still have Steph Thomas, who does a great job coming in as our relief as well. So, I mean, we have a 3-headed monster back there, and I try to feed as much as we can.
Next game, Coach, you guys take on the Green Bulldogs. They sit at 4-1 right now. A really impressive offense. Any thoughts against really a top Federal League opponent right now?
I mean, I'm just impressed with the Greens program and their progression. I mean, every year they just seem to get better and better. They're getting more people moving that community, which means, bigger pool of athletes, and they're doing a great job developing them. So, I'm just an admirer from afar from, what their coach and what their program is building out there.
Coach, I have to bring this up, or my partner on the Kenny and JT show will whack me upside the head. Here we go. Last night, he was calling it the Yiddo Bowl with an extra tzatziki sauce, and you and Zach Slate's going at it, and you get the win. Is there a trophy? Have you guys created a trophy every year for the Yiddo Bowl? If not, next year we're going to find somehow, some way to get one, and the winner gets to keep it for a year.
You can keep the trophy. Just get the winner like a $25 gift card to Papa Yito's so we can actually get a real Yito. I don't need another trophy. I want something to eat.
We'll work on that for next year. All right, Coach. I promise you, one way or the other, the winning coach is going to get Yitos after that game next season. All right, that's Sue Montz. If you're watching, let's work on that for Zach Slates and Antonio Hall, so we can feed the coach of the winning team in the Yiddo Bowl.
Sounds good to me.
Coach, thank you for joining us. Had a great time with you this morning. We're enjoying watching the Pups. That's a high-flying offense. Yeah. A lot of great highlights this year, and we'll continue to do so the rest of the season. Thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
We'll see you on the radio in a couple of weeks. We've got Hoover at McKinley in our Altman Health Systems radio game of the week on October 4th as I'm looking up at our schedule. So can't wait for that one. Next week, we have Jackson at Perry, Federal League matchup. And then we have Hoover at McKinley. So Federal League heavy the next couple of weeks on the radio for us, Bill.
Yeah, we'll be Glen Oak at Hoover next week. The Golden Eagles still searching for win number one. Wild Kenny, they don't have a win yet, and yet week after week I hear Glen Oak did this. Watch this impressive play from Glen Oak. Watch this. So
yeah,
they can put it together.
Yeah, they're struggling, and they struggled last year and were able to turn it around. It hasn't happened yet for Scott Garcia and his team. So, maybe next week they can put all three phases together and be in a competitive game because, again, yesterday they get shut out by Lake 27-0.
Good chance here to talk about Brockers Import Automotive. You know them as the main sponsor of the Saturday Morning Huddle. They have been for 2 years now. Important to get this info right here. The email on the top left, the phone number on the top right, and smack dab in the middle what they can do for you. This is a local business. This is a business that for years, Kenny, is making a difference in Stark County. And we've talked about it weekly. This is a business that you got to trust, and it's important with your car.
Oh, absolutely, Billy. 330-966-3923. That's the number. Put it in your phone. Tag it as Dan Brockers Import Automotive, Brockers Import Automotive, whatever it is. And they specialize in the maintenance and repair of European and Asian cars. So if you fall into that category, you want somebody you can trust, this is the place to go. They've been at it for so many years and doing it so well. You can always check them out, via email as well. And you see everything that they do from the services and the types of vehicles that they service. So you got, put a check mark by what you might need done and then take it there to Brockers Import Automotive and to get it done. Tell them that Kenny and Billy sent you from the Saturday Morning Huddle, and they'll appreciate that.
I've got them in my phone as the GOAT. I just put the GOAT. And I know who that is, what I need, and where I'm going. I'm going to Brockers to get my car looked at and fixed. So we appreciate them sponsoring us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle. They are one of the reasons we can come out and do what we do. What a fun show it has been. Games were heavy this year. I mean, we scored track during the YouTube game, and this was one where I constantly kept going to Frank Salona. Frank, tell me the Minerva score. What's going on with McKinley Perry? Is Lake winning? Just over and over again. Got to check in on these games. And it was a heck of a week. Huge win for Massillon. I know the Massillon Eds episode for us the last 2 years has been a most watched episode. So congrats to them. And we appreciated everybody who tuned in to check that one out. Really excited to have all the coaches on. Thank you to Tim Speakman. Really fun to talk to him. Mark Geis. We love a coach who battles through technical difficulties. He did so. He made it on. Nate Moore, live from the sideline. Coach Baum, fresh off a win. And then Coach Hall. No doubt, Kenny, he finishes up with us and then, just drops back down and starts lifting. That's how I picture it, at least.
Gotta get that workout in, even as a coach. But, yeah, fun week 5, Billy. It means the halfway point. And through 5 weeks, you have a pretty good idea of what your team is all about, right? As a head coach, now you start tweaking things a little bit as you get heavy into conference play, league play, and we're going to have the games for you in the various ways that we do things, right? We've got the radio, the old-fashioned way on 1480 and simulblasting on 94.1 FM, right? Mix 94.1. So that's our featured radio game of the week. We stream an audio game with Ethan Jenkins and Derek Philo, and they're doing a great job. So shout out to those guys at WHBCsports.com. You can listen live and then go back and listen to it after the fact. And then, with what you guys are doing on YouTube, you and Frank taking turns doing the play-by-play. We've got the expert Tom McDaniels up in the booth breaking it down. And then, of course, Bob Jeffries helping out with whatever game he needs to be at. So we're having a blast. I know Dan, Denny, and Mark, we had a ton of fun last night, again, at Northwest. Jason Hathaway, thank you. Coach DeMarco, thank you. And I got to give a shout-out to the Nook, Billy, because they fed us last night. Northwest has really they were the ones who brought this idea to mind for me, because every time we went to Northwest, they fed us big time. And then I stole Todd Blackledge's thing that he did when he was on TV, going to a different restaurant in the city that he was in. And Northwest started all of this, and they fed us very well again last night. As you can see there from the Nook in Massillon, we had pulled pork, we had brisket, we had baked beans, we had macaroni and cheese, we had the cornbread. So shout out to them again. 12356 Millersburg Road Southwest in Massillon, Ohio. It's the Nook. And the food was fabulous. Jason Hathaway, thank you. And thanks to all the schools that are having fun in the WHBC Press Box Food Fight Challenge. We're eating well thanks to all the schools that are participating in. Again, the Nook last night at Northwest, feeding us, making us happy, and Northwest went home happy with the big win over Fairless.
Love to see it. Congratulations to Chase Badger. He is the Community One Credit Union Player of the Week. Again, I'm going to say www.c1cu.com. Vote for your school. I say school. It's community. It's your team. It's everything. Chance to win $1,000, $500, or $250 courtesy of Community One Credit Union. You talk about Karen locally about Stark County. You love to hear that. And then again, Kenny, it's just $5 to open your membership with Community One Credit Union. And man, we've seen Chase Badger twice now on the Player of the Week. He's been the one twice. I'm going to say this quietly so it doesn't get too loud, but Poochie Snyder vibes. Poochie was the one who was constantly on that Player of the Week. So that was really fun and a great show once again, the sweet play of the week. We'll take one more look at it. Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's take a look at this great pass here as Ritterbeck, the sophomore, throws a dime. You talk about threading the needle and putting it only where his receiver could make the catch and both feet in bounds. That's as nice of a throw as you're going to see. And again, it goes from Mikey Ritterbeck to Zach Gilkerson on this 18-yard touchdown pass for Fairless. Even though they came up short, they did get the Marianne Donuts sweet play of the week. And it's even better in slow mode. Look at the placement of the ball, both feet, tap, tap, touchdown. Great play there. So, and how about this? Northwest, they're off to a 4-1 start, 1-1 in the Pac-7, and they're doing it without Parker Kraft, who is probably their best all-around skill position player, running back, wide receiver. Talked to him after the game last night, talked to Coach DeMarco about it. Actually broke his ankle earlier in the season, Billy. He's out of the walking boot, and they're hoping sometime early, mid-October that he might be available to come back and give them an added boost on offense to help out Chase Badger, who's doing a lot for them right now.
Well, that's great. Real quick, I want to encourage everybody, WHBCsports.com. That will tell you what games we have next. It'll take you to replays. We already had people asking last night after the game, where can I re-listen to the radio game? Where do I get the YouTube game? How do I find WHBCsports.com? That'll get you to YouTube, radio replay, streaming replay. That's the way to get all that we kind of have going on. Ken's top 10, the schedule for everything that's going on. I encourage everybody to go online and check out WHBCsports.com. And again, you want to score track on a Friday, it's got the scores page. So, yeah, I'm watching Green against Jackson, but, hey, I want to see if Minerva won. I want to see if Central beat Alliance, whatever. You want to go on it, and that's the best website for it.
I want to give some love to Brian Novak also. The Hammersmith scoreboard show after the games on Friday night. We give you bonus coverage sometimes of a second game, and then Brian runs down all the scores. So if you need to know last night, you can tune in to Brian after the games on WHBC, and it's on Mix 94.1 too. So while we simulblast the game, we simulblast the scoreboard show as well, and Brian helps us out with the scores that you're seeing on the bottom of the page, or your screen, I should say, from all the games last night. So shout out to Brian. And the one thing that shocked me this morning was the fact that Mark Geis has never seen the movie Stripes. I've got to get him a copy of Stripes so he knows what the hell I'm talking about when I call his quarterback Sergeant Hunka, because that to me is one of the classic movies of all time. So you're not alone. There are two people that have not seen the movie Stripes yet.
Well, I'll get there. Beetlejuice, that was one I had not seen, and I was sick of hearing about the new one, so I went and watched the original. Loved it. Shout out Michael Keaton on the Saturday Morning Huddle. Great performance in the original Beetlejuice. I'll check out the second one here soon. We appreciate everybody who tuned in early on this Saturday morning. We love doing it. It's the 80th season of high school football on WHBC, and it's only going to get better as we continue to go along this season and when you join us every Saturday morning on The Huddle.